And that is counterproductive to the work as a bipartisan board that we're trying to do, and a bipartisan election department in the work that they're trying to do. So with some passion, you can see I make a motion that we move this forward, that we authorize the elections department to keep, in the remaining less than 4 weeks that they have, to keep the ball moving so we don't drop it again, but also authorize them, as stated in the motion, to consider and approve public feedback and input and outreach, and add additional polling places as necessary. That's the motion, and I'm prepared to make it on 13 in isolation with those comments, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Mr. Chairman, I would second the motion, and with all due respect, request my colleague, Mr. Garda, who I biked to work with today, who bought me coffee today, who I share this trophy with.
I have one too, brother.
Uh-oh, trophy envy.
No. We won this for the whole county.
This is a county award.
Trophy envy.
We beat Phoenix. Yes. But in an effort to stay on topic, I do think, as Supervisor Barney pointed out, the motion as presented very clearly invites that, I think the further input, the further, I guess, perfecting of this very, imperfect, I guess, process. So I would second it and ask you to support it, and we'll all work together to make sure that there's as few holes, or hopefully no holes, left in the system come election day, if there are any today.
And Mr. Chairman, let me just add this as well. 2 weeks ago or so, I think it was Dr. Don Covey who sent an email. I think we were all tagged to it, and he offered a number of schools that would be available for May 17th. I would ask that the county take them up on that offer. Let's add additional polling places. Let's fill in those gaps that they're going to hear later on when they go to the legislature. They're going to hear the same thoughts that were given to me. There are some gaps, and there are some concerns, and I've heard it in the South Scottsdale. I've heard it in the North Phoenix. We've just heard from just a small group of folks. Public comment is critical. Department of Justice would never approve these lines without public comment. I'm sorry. That's the first question they ask. Who have you consulted with? Who have you talked to? That's the first question they ask. If we had to go to pre-clearance, they would rebut this. They would turn it down with a heartbeat without going to the public and asking for their input, asking for their consideration. And when we don't do that, we let down the public. I'm sorry, we do. And we invite ourselves to possible problems if we don't have, I have a pretty good sense of my district. I really do. I've been out there. I've walked in many of the neighborhoods. However, I'm not familiar with every one of these locations. I'm not. And when you don't present it to the public and say, hey, what's your thoughts? We're letting them down. We have a responsibility to let the public know exactly not only the polling places, but the election procedures. The fact that you had early voters with their ballot standing in line and not knowing they can just go up and drop it off, those are big red alarms that should be addressed. You address that through public education or election information, and that, we need the help of the state as well. They're part of the problem as well. I hate to say it, but they are, and I made it clear yesterday. You all need to step up and help us with this. Helen needs help. Helen needs the resources enabled to be able to invest and educate the public. This is good. I applaud this. This is good, but we need to do more. And public input is just so critical. Again, if we had Section 5 compliance right now, we wouldn't be looking at this without public comment. So with that.
Thanks. To be clear, Mr. Haven't 114 of the 116 proposed actually been pre-cleared? So, and I'm not sure that pre-clearance affects somebody like me waiting in line to drop my ballot in a box.
Oh, yeah, everything does. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
I don't think so.
Mr. Barney, everything pre-cleared. Before we lost Section 4, everything would have to be pre-cleared. If this mailer regardless of, would have to be pre-cleared. I mean, everything gets pre-cleared.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced that anybody at the federal government can do
And-
a better job
and-
from Washington DC
Yeah.
than what we can do here locally.
And
so-
that's why the public comment is so critical. That's why it's so, to
But,
get the
but,
people
but the
on the ground.
114 that have been pre-cleared have already been through public comment because that was part of the pre-clearance criteria that was established when we had to get pre-clearance.
And Mr. Chairman, Mr. Barney, it is not just one pre-clearance. They have to do this every election.
Yeah.
Development, communities change, demographics change. You've got to have it on every election. They would, if we had pre-clearance, they would have had March 22nd pre-cleared, they would have May 17th pre-cleared, they would have the primary, the general, they all get pre-cleared if we had that. Now, that's not required anymore, so, but I do think it is a responsibility of all of us to be able to go to the public and say, what do you think? This is what we're offering. Give us your feedback, and we don't do it, then that's where
So I would just, as chairman, that was very interesting.
all right.
I think.
Delightful.
Delightful. I think there's a method to this madness, and sometimes it's being able to talk out in the atmosphere here, in the bright lights, to let everybody understand how we come and make a decision on every one of these votes. So I appreciate all of my colleagues and how they feel about it. But I have now a motion and a second on item number 13. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. 4 ayes, 1 no. Thank you very much. Let's move on. It's 11:21. Thank you for being here today. On the sheriff, item 14, donations to MASH. Item 15, equipment transfer of fuel truck detention fund to general fund. Number 16, IGA with Arizona Department of Corrections. Number 17, non-cash donation to SWAT. Number 18, rescind action and approve agreement with the Grand Canyon Council of Learning for Life. And number 19, resolution approving submission of projects for consideration in Arizona's 2017 Highway Safety Plan. The board will now consider items 14 through 19.
Mr. Chairman,
We have a speaker slip turned in by Blue Crowley on item number 16, which is the IGA with the Arizona Department of Corrections.
Just recently on the news, the DOC fired a bunch of people. And the reason for that is when it comes to the seriously mentally ill and diabetics, our incarcerations from jail on down or up, or whichever way you want to go, are highly lacking. And their excuse, they said, was it wasn't covered in their basic training. So when I see Mr. Arpaio's dealing with the mentally ill and diabetics and the poor, as in 60% of his internees have some form of mental illness, 60% can't make bail. So when I see that we're going to be training these people, and what was it that they got fired for? A lack of humanity, a lack of empathy, a lack of training. So I'm glad that we get paid to train them, but could we do it right and get a little more sensitivity to the physical concerns of especially the diabetics? We've killed how many in his jail? And how many died at the Department of Correction? Because, like I said, they said that they had a lack of training. Well, that's what you're doing. You're training them. Would you do it right? Thank you.
Thank you, Blue. And I was just been told by Supervisor Kanasic that he has to run to a meeting shortly. So I'm asking my colleagues, I'm gonna try to blow through this as quick as I can. We've vetted out a lot of these things. So thank you for your consideration of time because we went so long on item 13.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve items 14 through 19 as published on the agenda today.
Motion, thank you. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under County Officers Sheriff, number 20, trade-in of taser units toward purchase of replacement taser units. Number 21, trade for credit on aircraft maintenance items. And under the Treasurer's Department, offer on tax deeded property from the city of Scottsdale. The board will now consider items 20 through 22.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve with one comment on item 21.
Okay.
Second the motion.
Very good.
And
Motion
just
second.
very simply, that I think this is good government when we're using every resource and every last part here to our betterment. So I applaud those who are utilizing that kind of creativity and efficiency.
Just as long as they're not taking off the part from the plane while it's in midair. Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under Judicial Branch, Adult Probation, number 23, Administrative Change to recognize new owner or lessor under lease. Number 24, exemption from markings and issuance of non-governmental license plates. The board will now consider items 23 and 24.
Motion to approve?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under County Management, Assistant County Manager, Mary Ellen Shepherd. Number 25, exception to the policy for administering grants. And number 26, IGA with Superior Court of Arizona in Maricopa County. The board will now consider items 25 and 26.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under County Departments, under Correctional Health, number 27, rescind the action for affiliation agreement with Regents of the University of California. Under Emergency Management, a subgrantee reimbursement agreement with the City of Goodyear, which is a great partnership. Thank you very much to Pete Weaver for that. And Employee Benefits and Health, number 29, Wellness Incentive Requirements, number 30, Employee Benefit Trust Benefit Premium Holiday. The board will now consider items 27 through 30.
So moved?
Second the motion,
We
Mr.
have a
Chairman.
motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under County Departments, Finance, number 31, Funds, Transfers, and Warrants. Under Government Relations, number 32, apply for tribal gaming funds from Fort McDowell, Yavapai Nation. And under Human Resources, number 33, Market Ranges. The board will now consider items 31 through 33. Prior to that, Mr. Crowley would like to speak on item number 32.
Just saying, a thumbs up for the Yavapai Nation and Fort McDowell kicking in money for the Deer Valley Road bike lanes. And I would have got you not to do it, but you had the paper in your hand before I got there.
Thank you, Blue. Okay.
The great redistribution of wealth.
Yes, the board will now consider items 31 through 33.
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under County Departments, Human Services, number 34, amend contract with the Mesa Unified School District. Number 35, a contract with Guadalupe Community Development Corporation. Number 36, contract with Newtown Community Development Corporation and the City of Chandler. Number 37, a participation agreement with the City of Peoria. Under Management and Budget, item number 38 is a progress report and milestone completion from Silicon Valley Bank.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion.
Second the
Motion
motion.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under County Departments, Procurement Services, number 39, Medical Laboratory Services, number 40, Library Materials and Related Services, 41, Court-Appointed Advisory Services, number 42, an ICGIS Integration Engine Support and Maintenance, 43, On-Site Medical Services. Under Public Health, number 44, Affiliation Agreement with the Grand Canyon University, and number 45, an agreement with the City of Peoria. The board will now consider items 39 through 45.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Still under County Departments, Public Health, 46 through 48, amending IGAs with the Arizona Department of Health Services, Cartwright School District number 83, and the Kyrene School District. Number 49 through and 50 is amend a contract with National Hansen's Disease Program and amend a lease agreement with PGS Property Managers LLC. The board will now consider items 46 through 50.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of items 46 through 50.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Public Health, 51 through 53, a facilities use revocable license agreement with the St. Mary's Food Bank Alliance, the Roosevelt School District number 66, Chandler Unified School District number 80, a grant renewal with the Arizona Early Childhood Development and Health Board and First Things First, and number 55, a grant with the Pew Charitable Trust. The board will now consider items 51 through 55.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. County Departments, Real Estate, number 56, amend a license and fee agreement with Donor Network of Arizona. 57 is an amended revocable license agreement with the town of Queen Creek. And number 58, an IJ with the city of Mesa. The board will now consider items 56 through 58.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Still under County Departments, Transportation, 59. Contract with Queen Creek Irrigation District. Number 60, declare as excess. 61 is the easement, right-of-way, and relocation assistance documents. 62, excess land sale. 63, IGA with the City of Surprise. And number 64, an ingress and egress easement. The board will now consider items 59 through 64.
Move for approval of these items 59 through 64 as listed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under Board of Supervisors, number 65, appointment to the Aggregate Mining Operations Zoning District. Number 1, Recommendation Committee. Under the IDA, 66 through 67, approve resolutions to adopt issuance of bonds for the benefit of Reed Traditional Schools and the Alhambra Partners LP. Board will now consider items 65 through 67.
Move for approval?
Second.
With a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. For setting of hearings, Planning and Development, number 68, Planning and Zoning hearing. Under Transportation, number 69, a patent easement abandonment road file number PAB-0022. The board will now consider items 68 and 69.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second the motion?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under Clerk of the Board, under Consent Agenda, items 70 through 76, which include duplicate warrants, minutes, precinct committeemen, property reclassification appeals, tax settlement cases, tax abatements, and other routine administrative actions. The board will now consider consent items 70 through 76.
I move approval of items 70 through 76.
Thank you, Steve.
Second the motion?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We're going to switch this up a little bit because I believe both A2, A3, and A4 have yet to be discussed, so I'm assuming I need a motion to continue these items as well, or what do we do?
Well, at your word, Mr. Chairman, we'll put them on when the treasurer
When the
does his
treasurer makes his present.
presentation.
Okay, so we'll just
We'll
knock
just-
those out?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll switch down then to under Sheriff, A5, rescind action and approve a revised agreement with the Tohono O'odham Nation. Under Human Services, number A6, and interim county manager, special work assignment. The board will now consider items A5 and A6.
So
Move for-
moved.
Second the motion on these two items?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries as we all look at Shelby. Okay, Flood Control District. She has a smile, so I think she's okay.
She was keeping her head down the whole time.
Sorry, it doesn't work. We will now recess as the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and convene as the Flood Control District Board of Directors. Under Flood Control District, F1 is an easement, right-of-way, and relocation assistance documents. The board will now consider item F1.
Move for approval. Item F1 is the Flood Control District Board of Directors.
Thank you, Denny.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will now adjourn as the Flood Control District Board of Directors and convene as the Stadium District Board of Directors. Under item S1, FY 2016 budget adjustment, there is a speaker slip on S1, Ms. Diane Barker. I like that, representing the citizenry this time. So thank you, Diane.
Got it, yes, and thank you. Chairman Hickman, Board of Supervisors, this is on Bank One Ballpark, and we've heard recently about them, wanting some more money, much more than $100,000 of which you're transferring here from the operating to a long-term project. And I just don't know enough about this to know whether the long-term project is going to feed into asking you for $200 million. But I was over there Saturday for the Hope Fest, and it was repurposed, by a lot of goodwill from people, helping people that needed. The idea was to help people use necessities to get to work, whether it was clothing, food, free haircuts. I even got a haircut, and I tried to give a little tip to the gal. She wouldn't even take it. These people are so good that we're volunteering. But what I'm saying here with this money and everything, the people, they're not going to look for a new tax. People are really taxed a lot. And how we can multi-purpose something like this where we can generate some revenue, but we can help people. And I looked at that big stadium and I thought, something, we need to recycle and train and repair. We're not the disposable nation that we used to be, and we're not headed towards that. And I could see big training areas there to teach people how to fix things and, learn about solar or whatever. I'd like to see the county, if this is a long-term project, they really look to see how it can be repurposed, whether they're, and try to keep our ball team there, but that facility is beautiful as it is.
Thank you, Diane. I think we feel the same way, and your hair looks marvelous today. So the board will now consider item S1.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under Housing Authority, we will now adjourn as the Stadium District Board of Directors and convene as the Housing Authority of Maricopa County. Housing Authority, H1, Power Distribution Easement to Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement. This item will require a roll call vote. So the board will now consider item H1.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of agenda item H1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Fran?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Chukri?
Aye.
Supervisor Barney?
Aye.
Supervisor Kanasic?
Aye.
Supervisor Gallardo?
Aye.
Chairman Hickman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guess that motion carries. All right. We will now adjourn as the Housing Authority of Maricopa County and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. Item 77 is public comment. Has anyone turned in request to speak? We have
Chairman?
4 slips. Andy?
Can I I don't want to miss any of the public comment, but I do have it's a 12 o'clock meeting that I really would,
Okay.
I need to be at.
So let's go ahead and for you, just maybe hit, would you like to summarize your current,
Well,
before you leave?
I would defer to the comments of, within reason, Supervisor Gallardo to talk about this morning's event, and thank him again for buying me a coffee.
No problem. We can put our awards
But
up here.
I got to go, and then I'll
Okay.
can I leave? I'm asking permission. So.
Let's vote on it.
Yes, sir, you can go.
Is there a motion?
No motion to go.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Yeah, he's got to bike on out of here. Thank you.
It's in my
Thank
truck.
you, Andy. Well then, Steve, I'll just wait then. Let's go on to public commentary and expect you to make some comments about the Bike to Work Day. So, first off, and handed to me in order, is Mr. Blue Crawley.
Tomorrow, Steve, you're going to have a meeting at the RPTA and the joint and that. And I've got the agenda here, and it's got their joint meetings agenda. And the second thing in there, first thing is the executive's report, and then the next thing is the minutes. And if you go to the minutes, when you review them, the first thing is public comment. Well, at managers, they didn't allow public comment, and since it's a different entity than Valley Metro or Valley Metro Rail when you're both together, because things that they are covering is the $250,000 salary that we're going to be paying somebody to do what? Run two agencies, and the reason that we've got the two agencies together is so that rail gets more of its share, because who and what master does it serve? So I said to former Mayor Smith at the managers' meetings that I would be going to the Attorney General's office to file a open meeting complaint, and being lethargic and the procrastinator that I am, I haven't done it, but as you know, this is unacceptable. Would have been nice if on Monday when I got this document, somebody would have figured it out and said, wait a minute, we need to send out an addendum because you got to post it 48 hours. But then tomorrow when it is time for joint, what do I do during the minute? Say, here, I need to do my public comment on these actions and agenda items, being that they're also covering in there a fair policy. And I would go into the specifics on his, and one of the assumptions is in 1917 or 18, we increased the fare structure, it says, but then we're going to be going to a smart card, and we're investing almost $500,000 on that, so that if you go to get on the bus and you're not going to pay cash money, you're not chastised. You're not discouraged, because you don't have to pay the extra $2. So let's get this darn thing changed and do it right. We don't need to be charging people extra to use the bus on the bus.
Thank you, Blue. All right. Michael Worth.
Good morning, Chairman, board members. My name is Michael Worth. I'm the owner of Saddle Mountain RV Park in Tonopah, Arizona. I'm here today to talk to just about the effects of the Hickman egg facility that's been built in our neighborhood there. The pictures that I provide you today is one of just the project. It currently has about 10 buildings that are occupied with chickens. The rest of the project, as you can see, if you look far to the south end there, all 28 of the hen houses will be constructed here within the next year. The second picture you have is the feathers and the down and the dander on our pool that we scrape off every morning. The breathing quality, the burning of the throats, the running of the eyes, this needs to be addressed by the board. I know we're conflicted out with Chairman Hickman being our supervisor for that area, but we need representation. The community is suffering. Our residents at our park, mostly seniors, can't have breathing difficulties, and many of them have moved out because at the request of their doctors. So today I'm requesting that you get the Department of Public Health involved. Dr. Bob Englinger, getting him on site to do monitoring. There's more than happy to stay at the park for free. I have numerous places to stay. We need testing, we need monitoring on this subject, on this situation, to really get our hands around it. It's only 1/3 of the way built, and it is absolutely overwhelming. We need help, we need your assistance. Thank you.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Mike. All right. Next, Mr. John Russinek.
I'm John Rosnick. I would like to talk about some dust proof for parking and maneuvering ingress and egress areas 3,000 feet or more, residential building with 4 or fewer units installed may be paved with stabilization method authorized by the city of town and by code. This is made. There's also a state ordinance 9.500.4, it also states the same thing as the one in the other. Don't want to read it too much. It says Maricopa County Air Quality Department shall regulatory agency school is to ensure federal air standards achieved and maintained for the resident and visitors of Maricopa County. I think by the open meeting law, Arizona State 38.141, I would like to submit on record today for the next formal agenda to discuss possible action and adoption for that situation. So I'd like to get that. Now I want to tell you one thing else. I talked to Joy Rich December. I've got emails as such. Nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing. My representative here, he left. He didn't want to hear me talk. But I think something ought to be done. These are ordinances. They're supposed to be taken care of. Nothing's been done for years. I'd like to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rusnick. And one left, Ms. Diane Barker.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Hickman, Board of Supervisors. I couldn't agree more, really, with my supervisor, Gallardo, in regards to the interchange customer service. And I think that that is something that's missing too often, you know, any place, but particularly in government. We need to do more on that. If we need to even reshape, you know, the open meeting law so that it's not so stilted in knowing the recorder and the elections officer, there's not, the thing is such a technical area that I think that they're rigid. They're rigid when you even talk to them, you know, as the public, you know, and often too resistant to maybe an idea. So I have to say that it's too bad they left early, because I would have liked to respond to this when Karen Osborne said that we've sent out this brochure. By the way, I hadn't seen it or heard about it, that it is to people that didn't receive an early ballot. But you know what I saw and heard about is people that had an early ballot, they didn't know where to deliver it if they had not put it in the mail, and if they're going to put it in late, it's not going to count. And so that right there, you know, I would have liked to have responded to it, but see, we spoke before Karen and we can't speak again, so then we don't have an interchange even here with these officials. So we rely on you taking back, and I know you've got a lot of issues, so, you know, this may not really reach it. So I want to let you, you know that we need more of that. I experienced also, and I'm bringing this up, is there was no customer service at all going over at quasi-government Valley Metro Rail, and I was the one that had to help people that were in wheelchairs get to the mic. And this can happen. We can have, I'd rather have you have the transportation district and be over the regional area road fund, giving it out to quasi-government.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you for being here. Okay, that wraps up. Fran, any other speaker slips?
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, great. Okay, that wraps up that portion of public comment. We'll move on to item 78, the supervisor's summary of current events, and being that you're all trophied up over there,
That's right.
might as well take care of Andy. I'll give you more time.
Yeah, I'll take Mr. Kanasik's time. So, Mr. Chairman, members, this morning we had our Bike to Work event at Park Central. We rode down to the, what is it called? Cityscape, that's it, Cityscape. And you joined us last year, and you remember last year, you and I were at the
Race.
but we were in the very end. I could, proud to say, without you in the race, Mr. Chairman, I was up front. Okay, you held me back, brother, you held
I'm
me
more
back.
of a cruiser than a speeder.
No, but
Lawbreaker.
we had a great time. Mr. Manos was there, Mr. Kanasic, we had, Shelby was riding, there are a whole number of folks from the county. As you can see, Maricopa County won, once again, first place in the number of participants that participated, so that was good. And now they came up with a newer, revised kind of a trophy. It's Maricopa County plus the City of Phoenix Bike to Work Day Champions. And we are the recipients of this particular award that we are going to hold on to for the next year. And hopefully we will continue to hold on to it once we do it again next year. But it was a great event. And it's, you're promoting wellness. Dr. Ingham was with us as well, promoting wellness, keeping fit, nutrition, and it's always fun to be out there. So we had a good time. We had a couple of the council members from City of Phoenix as well. So look forward to doing it again next year. So it was fun.
Awesome.
I got you right. This is only the second time I ever used my bike. I hate to tell you.
That's
Yeah,
why
okay.
that's why we finished last year. The city of Phoenix
Yeah.
provided us the bike.
Exactly.
So, and I do note, I think we've won this award 3 straight times. So look how the city of Phoenix must be incredibly cheap when we're the winners. So once they finally win, there'll probably be a nicer trophy. Denny.
Nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Steve, before I go to Tom, I would like to thank Tom and Shelby and RJ, my chief. This last week, we went out to Lake Pleasant and took another boat ride, this time with the city manager, city staff of Peoria, as well as the mayor and a council member. And we did that because Lake Pleasant is awfully important to the city of Peoria. Also, it's in their planning area. They talk very highly of it. I think we'll be on TV talking about it. And I was there to continue to remind them that, and that's a Maricopa County Park. Oh, yeah, and that's a Maricopa County Park. So they think highly of our park system, especially with that lake. And we appreciate their vision of what they want to try to pull off near there. And things are going well. We did a new partnership with Troon Development. They have put some money towards that marina. It looks spectacular, and they want to do some more things. So other things might be coming up to this board, but it looks great out there. So thanks to the park staff and Jen for doing that for me. So, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't have anything, but thank you for reminding us about that tough duty we had to put in at Lake Pleasant last week. It was a wonderful day, so thank you.
That's great.
Is this your last formal meeting?
This is my last formal meeting.
I think we'll get all mushy at the send-off party. We'll save it.
Okay, he doesn't want to talk. All right. So that being said, been a long meeting. Thanks for everybody being here. Motion to adjourn?
Exactly.
Motion to adjourn?
Yep, so moved, Mr.
Motion
Chairman.
second? Motion second? Yeah, all adjourned.